What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about what to expect in Fortnite Chapter 4, because I know for many of you who started playing with the release of Zero Build this chapter, you're not really sure what to expect going into a new chapter. So I'm going to go over all that and all of the news, rumors, and leaks that we have in today's video. If you guys do enjoy this, find it helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you're hoping to see change in Chapter 4. The first thing we can expect to see is a brand new map and loot pool. So there are some rumors going around about the Chapter 4 map kind of being a mix of all of the past maps that we've had in the past. I don't think that's the case. I'll probably make a video about that in a future video, just dedicated to that topic. But we will get a new map in some way. The only time that we've gotten new maps in Fortnite has been when a new chapter happens. So like new map and chapter are kind of synonymous with one another. I don't think they would make a new chapter or signify that we're going to a new chapter unless we were going to get a new map. Like everybody would just be very disappointed, because that is kind of the norm we've come to expect. We've had 3 chapters of Fortnite, 3 different maps. There may be some old POIs or old structures returning. We saw that with the Chapter 1 into the Chapter 2 map having Pleasant Park and Retail Row. I believe those were the only returning locations. There might be more. It's been a while since Salty Springs as well. And then on the Chapter 3 map, we have Greasy Grove, Tilted. We kind of had Shifty Shafts, but it had kind of been reimagined. And yeah, so sometimes we get old POIs returning. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Chapter 2 or Chapter 1 POIs on this map that were fan favorites. And then same goes with the loot pool. We typically get a reworked or a new loot pool every single chapter. Coming into Chapter 3, like Chapter 3, Season 1, Day 1, I don't think there was any items or any weapons in the game, at least, that had been in the game previously. All of the weapons were brand new. And for most of Chapter 3, they didn't bring back any older weapons. And that leads me to believe that we will get some older weapons in this loot pool. The biggest complaint that players have had for all of Chapter 3 has just been missing old weapons or not liking the current weapons. And I think just throwing in a normal AR and SCAR in there or a pump in there would make a lot of players happy. Regardless of how you feel about those weapons, if you think they're overrated or not, a majority of the community would just be happy to see those items in the game. And I feel like Epic does like to nostalgia bait a decent amount with new chapters. Coming into Chapter 3, or during Chapter 2, the thing people complained about most, from my memory, not only was the map, but people missed Tilted Towers, and they kind of teased Tilted Towers a few times during Chapter 2, and it never came with Bony Burbs and Salty Towers. And then when the Chapter 3 map drops, guess what it has? It has Tilted Towers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do put some OG weapons in the loot pool. Not only would it be what players enjoy, but it would be like automatic hype for the new season. A lot of it might be nostalgia or whatever in your eyes, but Epic does tend to nostalgia bait with new chapters. And also, they kind of did away with what they had done in past seasonal events during Chapter 3. So typically for like the winter and summer events, we would get these unvaulting events. I've talked about it many times, where they'll unvault a different weapon every day just for that one day, and then another one the next day, and you do that for 14 weapons. And I feel like not only would that have made the summer event really dope, it would have been a good response to the complaints that people have had about the loot pool in Chapter 3, just being able to use the old AR, the pump, or whatever, Deagle. There's multiple, classic weapons that people missed. Just being able to use them for a day would kind of quench that thirst that people had, and it would also be a hype event for that, season. But instead, they chose to do literally nothing with the summer event. And I just have to assume that there's a reason for it. If they brought out the old stuff for the summer event or the winter event last year, then people would be less excited when it does return in Chapter 4. So maybe I'm just kind of seeing what I want to see. But I do think we might see some OG weapons returning into the loot pool, along with some new weapons and reworked items in Chapter 4. The next thing that we can probably expect to see in Chapter 4 is going to be first-person mode. This has been leaked for a long time. I think ever since the Device event, which happened in 2020. It happened in Chapter 2, Season 2, a really long time ago. People got into first-person during that event, and it's been worked on consistently and been updated consistently through the seasons, and even more so in recent seasons. We thought it was coming last season, didn't happen. We thought it was coming this season, didn't happen. The fact that we're getting a new chapter, which often signifies like a huge rework or changes to Fortnite, could mean that first-person mode is coming next season or sometime soon into Chapter 4. I've had a lot of people ask me what this would be because they like Fortnite in third person, and I do myself as well. I like first person shooters a lot. Typically in my past, I much preferred first person. Fortnite is the only third person shooter I've ever really liked, and I feel like Fortnite will just work good in third person. I don't know how it feels about first. So I think this will be either a separate game mode, a setting, or like an option in Creative 2.0, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I don't think they're just going to go away from third person completely and you have to play in first person, maybe for like a temporary type thing, like they did with the launch of Zero Build. But I think ultimately it'll be its own game mode or its own option, its own setting, or its own piece of Creative 2.0, which brings us to our next piece of information. Creative 2.0, or Unreal Engine Editor Fortnite, I believe is what it's actually called, is an expansion of Creative, and it basically allows people to make their own games within Fortnite. I'm not really that big into this, and I don't really know what that means. But yeah, it's basically mod tools for Fortnite, and people will be able to make whatever they want to make within Fortnite. And I think having first person as an option in that kind of just makes sense. If you're going to let people make their own games, some people might want to make first person shooters. So it's possible this whole time that first person mode was just something they're adding into the Unreal Engine Editor Fortnite. And Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, recently replied on Twitter once Chapter 4 got announced, when people were like, oh, this means Creative 2.0 is going to come out. And he said, sorry, folks, the team is working super hard, but Unreal Editor for Fortnite has been delayed until late January 2023. So it's not going to come right away, but it'll likely be a month or two into Chapter 4 that we end up seeing Creative 2.0. And like I already said, that's basically mod tools for Fortnite. I feel like it's been very overhyped this entire time. Pretty much every bit of like unhappiness people have with the game, they've just kind of looked towards Creative 2.0 to be the solution for that. And I feel like it's been hyped up so much that just ultimately a lot of people will be let down. But if you're someone who really likes making things in Creative or playing mini games, this will probably be something you really enjoy. But if BR is your main thing and you're more concerned about, playing BR and you don't really care about Creative, I don't think Creative 2.0 is just going to magically change that. The next interesting piece of information we have is a potential story mode coming to Fortnite during the downtime of the event. So usually after every event there's downtime, but the chapter switch events typically have longer downtime. And Hypex said, don't take this as confirmation, but there seems to be a story related mode we'll play from the lobby, possibly during Chapter 4's downtime. I think this would be perfect if they did have a story mode. I'm not someone who really cares that much about the Fortnite storyline, but I know a lot of people who do have always felt that it didn't get enough attention. And then every time it does get enough attention, it kind of griefs the game. Like I know in a lot of Chapter 2, people felt like the storyline was getting way too much attention and the gameplay wasn't getting enough. So I feel like just making it its own game mode where maybe every week or so there's an update for the story mode where you can play and learn more about what's happening in the Fortnite storyline could be a good way to go about telling the storyline. I also feel like making like a series, kind of like how League of Legends did with Arcane, would have been a nice way to tell the Fortnite storyline, especially if you can tie in the weekly episode drops with the update in game. I feel like if they did that, that would be just like a great combination. So we might end up seeing a storyline mode or just greater emphasis on the story in Chapter 4. I've never been too big into the storyline, but I know there are a lot of people that is. Apparel is allegedly some new cosmetic type that is coming in this chapter where you'll be able to customize your skins with some sort of apparel. I imagine this will be something like hats, masks, something along those lines. I would say backpacks, but we already have back blings, maybe jackets. There will be some sort of new cosmetics that come to the game that you'll be able to customize your skins with. Of course, with Creative 2.0 coming, this also kind of has potential to just be something for that and not actually be a part of BR, but we'll have to see how it plays out. But a lot of people have been leaking the apparel. I think weapon charms could also be coming to the game if first person mode is coming to the game. Weapon charms were leaked way back in the day, like several seasons ago, or several years ago probably, but it ended up not coming to the game because it wouldn't really make sense for third person. But if they are going to add first person into Fortnite, it kind of makes sense to have weapon charms as well. And at the FNCS Invitational, there was this Durburger Fortnite x Mr. Beast thing, and it looks like a weapon charm. Like if you look at the top of it, that is supposed to be a toothpick holding the like olive or whatever into the burger, but it's a whole loop like how you would hang a weapon charm or what you would expect to see if there was a Durburger weapon charm. So this little hook on the thing might actually be foreshadowing weapon charms coming in Chapter 4. The next thing that we have is just a whole bunch of items that never came to the game. So flying animals have been leaked for a while but never came out. Motorcycles have been leaked and definitely been being worked on for a while, but never came out. The portable reboot van, or some sort of device that allows you to reboot people wherever you want, has been something that's been leaked for a while. Weapon attachments were leaked several seasons ago and never came out. Things like this could definitely end up coming into the game, and I think they should rework rebooting in some way. I feel like it should be faster, or maybe you can pay gold to make it faster, or maybe you don't need to get your teammate's card. I feel like the reboot system is super outdated, and it's very hard to get a reboot off without people just pushing you. From what I've been told, I pretty much only play solos, but the reboot system has been the same since it was added in early 2019. So I definitely think there's something they could do about the reboot system. If you look at how Warzone is with how fast you can buy back your teammates or reboot your teammates, I think they should do something like that. I think there's also potential for some changes to the battle pass system. So we've had the current battle pass system the way it is, where you level it up and you get the stars and then you spend the stars on what you want for several seasons now. And I think if they did want to change it up, a new chapter would be a good time to do so, make things feel fresh and exciting. People have been complaining about this battle pass system for a while. So I think that we see decent chance that it ends up changing. And one thing that would be interesting is Halo Infinite has a battle pass system where once you purchase a battle pass, you're able to go back and work on that one even after the season ends. And I think if they wanted to implement something like that, this new chapter shift would be a good time to do that. So like they could just, the old battle pass system is the old battle pass system. Going forward, you'll be able to level this up even after the season ends. I think a lot of people would really like that, and it would be somewhat more consumer friendly. It's not really something I personally care too much about either way, because I just play the game a lot. I'm always going to, unlock the stuff. But for people who don't play as much, that could be really cool. And that is going to be it for today's video. That is what I expect to see in Fortnite Chapter 4. Let me know down in the comments below what you think will be coming in Chapter 4. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. We are very close to the launch of the new Fortnite chapter.